It's wonderful. I bet we are live. It's so
Hi.
great to be. Hi there. Are you live?
Hi, Mel. It's so great to be here. Thanks for including me.
Hey, Mary. Are you kidding? We'll come back to that. We have to introduce each other. Hi,
Okay.
everybody. Hi, everybody. And welcome to another edition of the Children's Literature Channel for the New Books Network. And I am Mel Rosenberg, your host. And I have with me today a wonderful librarian and author from Denver, Colorado, and give a fine welcome, warm applause to Mary Lanni. Hi,
Hi,
Mary.
everybody. Hi.
And we're celebrating a brand new book that you just published about a month ago. And it's
Here it
good that you're
is.
holding it up because it's a long name. I wrote it down, but it's called Using Nursery Rhymes with Today's Kids, Their Legacy and Evolution by Mary R. Lanni. What does the R stand for?
Rose.
Rose?
Mhm.
That's a good Irish middle name.
Thank you.
And I'm Rosenberg. It
That's
was
right.
it it, it was Rose, but I lengthened it. Um,
Oh,
Everything works in these interviews. Mary, I'm so happy to have you. When I get to interview a librarian, it's a sunny day for me. And when it's a librarian who's also an author of a scholarly work, that is a double star. And then the triple star is because you've written a book about Mother Goose rhymes, which I love. I'm not going to tell the audience which my favorite Mother Goose rhyme is, maybe later. It rhymes with hey, griddle, griddle, but we're not going to even talk about it much, maybe just a bit. And so here's a chance for you to tell the world about your wonderful book, which I'm sure every librarian in the world is going to need to buy for their libraries and to study. And for some of us authors too, it's an important book to buy, even though it does not cost $18.99.
yes. So I love that you call this a scholarly work because as I was writing it, I just wanted to teach people something. And so this is what came out of that. Um, and I think it's really fun to think of myself as a scholarly author. So thank you for that. So this book is intended for a wide range of readers, librarians, of course, also anyone who works with young children as an early childhood educator, and also parents. So, anyone who has a young child in their life who is considering or already singing nursery rhymes with them, this can be really helpful. Some backstory about why it came about is that at my particular
One
library, one of
second,
my
Mary. I'm supposed to ask you that question.
oh, sorry,
Can,
I'm
can you give
jumping
me some?
ahead.
No, it's okay. Can you give me some backstory of how this came about?
Why, sure. So one of my colleagues a couple years ago had noticed some hubbub happening about nursery rhymes. This is online, lots of other librarians kind of talking about this. And she asked me to put together just a little conversation presentation for the storytellers in our district. So I thought, sure, let me just go find the book on that. I'll put together a little presentation and off we go. And come to find out, there was no book on that. So started to do the research, put together the presentation that I could in the time that I had, and then realized that this is a conversation that people want to have, that I was already starting to do this research. And because I'd already co published a book a couple years prior, I had an editor that I could reach out to and say, hey, does this sound like something that we could pursue? Ultimately, the answer was yes. And so then, you know, the rest is history. But it all came about from wanting to teach about this. And so, in teaching about it, of course, I had to learn about it. And so now everyone gets to benefit from that time too.
Yeah, but did you realize how much work there is involved in writing a scholarly book about anything?
Uh, I, yes and no. Um, yes, in that I have, there was a lot of research that had to be done. There were a lot of details that had to kind of be collated. And also, I really like writing this kind of work. It's a lot. it's a lot more fun for, I mean, I like fiction also. I love reading fiction. I'm a little intimidated by fiction, which is funny, right? That like when it's something that's just coming out of your brain should be maybe a little bit more straightforward, but being able to kind of make a persuasive work around things that already exist and kind of starting this conversation, that was really compelling for me.
Okay, so we'll get down to brass tacks now. There's hundreds and hundreds of Mother Goose rhymes. There may not have been a Mother Goose, but we have the rhymes. Some people think there's 300 or 400 rhymes. And up until now, except for maybe one or two, I've always thought that they are innocuous. And your book shows that they are pretty innocuous, if there's such a word.
Yes. Well, so yes, first of all, there are lots of Mother Goose rhymes, nursery rhymes, right? They come from generations past, so they've existed for a really long time. And as a result, the initial meaning purpose of them is a little bit lost to time. We have some folklore history that goes into what these might have meant. And so taking everything with a little bit of a grain of salt, especially for those really early ones that were written down first in the 1700s. So when you have a lot of folks at that time who were illiterate, the only way that they could pass information was orally. So doing so by song made it easy to remember. Um, Theoretically, it could also be subversive in lots of ways. And so there are a lot of folklorists, as you'll read in my book, that there are songs that may relate to historical figures, historical events, and were shared more with adults than with kids. But as time has gone on, they've been passed on to kids. So, yeah.
I myself am a Humpty Dumpty freak. You can see that my head looks like an egg, and I've done a bit of research on Humpty Dumpty, so I wasn't surprised. But everybody else will be when you tell them what Humpty Dumpty might have been.
Yes. So it might have been a siege cannon that fell off of a wall when the wall was destroyed in war. Um, and actually, the image of the egg was technically popularized by Lewis Carroll, I believe, in Alice Through the Looking Glass. But it also could have been just a riddle at the time that people thought was amusing. So all of these histories, a little bit passed down like telephone, where you know you have maybe the original version and over time it gets a little bit distorted and so it's hard to determine exactly what the first one is, but yes, a siege cannon. That's what we're singing about
So
maybe.
Mary, let's talk. So your book is about really paying closer attention to things that we don't normally do. You know, there's all kinds of Mother Goose rhymes that we share, and sometimes we share them with our children at home, and sometimes in the nursery school or the library. Give us an example of one that we should really think twice about. Maybe not an obvious one.
Well, Mary Mary Quite Contrary is one that I grew up hearing a lot in various
How
contexts.
does your garden grow?
I wonder why. um,
With tinkle bells and pretty shells and seven maids all in a row. I got it wrong, but that's how I pass it on to my generations, you know.
See, telephone. But according to folklorists, this might have actually referred to Bloody Mary, who was known for her relentless prosecution of Protestants, and that those things in her garden may have been torture devices. So, just something to think about when sharing that song. It
Or
may
even
also have been,
or even corpses.
or even corpses. Yes, yes.
The Jews will say oy vey. But here's this is what I want to ask you. There's certain Mother Goose rhymes that are really offensive. I don't even want to mention their names. And that everybody, I'm hoping everybody will know without reading your book, are not to be shared. Um, and but but your book is full of these surprises. But should people care when they consider reading or teaching This particular rhyme, for example, um, given that it might have been written about terrible events that happened 300 or 400 years ago.
Should they think about it? Is that what your question was?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
your premise is that I think it's really great, because so many things that we take for granted. Okay. And your book could be about birds flying in the sky, and I'll love it because we take birds for granted. But Mother Goose rhymes we really take for granted. And here you say we shouldn't take them for granted. And then I started reading, I read your book, and then I read a little bit more, and 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie. Um, and as a kid, it's a little bit strange to bake a blackbird in a pie. But kids really think nothing of it. And then you come and you say, oh, oy vey, everybody, people are getting killed, beheaded, dethroned, and whatever. You should know better.
Yes, so that is a really good point. A lot of times, so part of the reason why these songs have such staying power is that you're sharing them from generation to generation to generation. And so it becomes defaulted that, oh, the song exists. Also, popular culture. So if you're reading a book, watching a movie, you'll notice that they're embedded in there too. And that makes it a little bit more difficult for us to think critically about what we're sharing with the next generation. While some of them can be innocuous, as you say, other ones, as you start thinking about them, you'll realize, oh, well, what about this poor character who has fallen and hit their head, and who's checking on them, and how are they getting up and walking away? So just kind of considering those messages a little bit. And this book, like you say, is intended to start a conversation. It doesn't include all of the nursery rhymes. It doesn't include all of the potential histories of those nursery rhymes. It's an invitation to think about where these songs came from, what messages they're imparting to the next generation, and whether that is something that is beneficial to society, or maybe we could find a different option.
Okay. The question that has been raised, not only in relation to Mother Goose rhymes, but also in general to ancient and classic children's tales. Um, for some reason, I can't remember the name of that guy who plays the flute. You can help me, right?
Pied
Who
Piper.
Yeah, who takes all of the children from town because he's pissed off that he wasn't paid, and drowns them all in the river. This is a extreme example of cruelty in children's stories, but there's many examples. And but there's an argument here. Like, do kids really, is this really going to affect them? Jack and Jill went up the hill, they broke their crown, and Jill went tumbling after, or Rockabye Baby in the treetops, the bough will fall, and so on and so forth. Um, Mary, we grew up on these. And I mean, I might have been damaged goods, but you don't look like you're damaged goods. A few words about are they really dangerous to kids?
So it depends. I will say it depends. Some are more dangerous than others, and particularly those that came out of minstrel era United States. So there's a lot of embedded racism in a lot of the songs that come from that time period, and because we know where they came from, we have, I feel like, a duty and responsibility to make different choices. And so, some of the older ones, maybe not so much as far as that goes, but definitely the ones that were seated in a more unpleasant period of history can really dramatically affect the people listening to those songs. And also to, just be respectful of the things that were done at the time and how we can move forward in a more positive way.
Is there a place for you talked about Disney and some of his portrayals, um animations in 1940s, especially maybe the 30s, would be considered racist today, and rightly so. But you mentioned that sometimes but what people are not going to watch Dumbo. So they have this compromise. Can you talk about it for a moment?
Sure. Yeah. So something that anyone who's watching Disney Plus will notice that on the beginning of certain shows or certain films, there's a disclaimer at the beginning saying that, there may be some sensitive topics in this, or the portrayals are more antiquated, so something that alerts readers at the beginning to this. However, it is only written and it is at the top left corner of the screen. And so, for grown-ups reading it, they'll be able to perhaps make decisions as a result of seeing that. But for kids who may not be able to read yet or understand what that is, that may or may not be helpful in that regard.
It's very hard for me to understand the pain. I mean, I can sort of understand, being Jewish and growing up amidst a lot of anti-Semitism, and the Brothers Grimm have several terribly anti-Semitic stories, and so I can feel my pain, but I can't feel the pain um, of American people who have had to live through so many generations of slavery and terrible treatment. Um, but on the other hand, it is part of, you talk in your book about I've been working on the railroad, if I'm not mistaken, or did I make a mistake?
No, no, that's right.
Um, so what do you think? I mean, you wrote, as a researcher, you give both sides of the picture. Uh, uh, what do you think, Mary? Do you want to think something?
Um, so from my perspective, I think that there may be a place for discussing songs like these in a historical context, especially with, you know, scholars, whether you're in high school, college, where you have more of your cognitive function that's developed and you can examine those songs from the historical perspective. When you're a child, you don't have that yet. And everything you're learning, you're taking in and absorbing. And so when you expose young children to intrinsic generational racism from a young age, it becomes normalized. And that can be very detrimental.
Okay, so
So,
sorry.
sorry, go ahead. No, you go.
No, I was intrigued by your book, because I grew up in Canada on some of these rhymes and on that song, and I never would consider it harmful. And today I'm full of regret for even having learned and sung the song. Um, so the more power to you for bringing this to a wider community of readers. And
Thank
again,
you.
we have to be very careful of what we write about and who we might offend. And I think that books like yours are really important because it's, first of all, you don't necessarily portray it in black and white. And um, you give ways out. And one of the ways out is to write your own Mother Goose rhymes or to use new ones. But before we do that, I want to go back to your own Mother Goose rhyme of Mary. So tell us a few things about yourself. I'm intrigued. How do people
Sure.
become librarians?
A lot of different ways. My way was very circuitous. So I've been a non-traditional educator most of my life, tutoring, babysitting, things like that. I taught Irish dancing for 15 years. Um, so lots of teaching in various ways. And I knew that I wanted,
Teaching Irish dancing, it can be very dangerous.
yes, I have
People can get
watched
injured.
sprained ankles, broken
People,
ankles.
people, people can get fallen and can fall in love.
Oh, that too. Yes, that happened to me. So it happens. Um, but yeah, so from there, ended up I knew I wanted to teach, but I knew I didn't want to be in a classroom. Um, at least not a traditional classroom. So I found myself at the Children's Museum here in Denver, and that's where I started doing story time and getting into that. And then from there, found my way into the libraries. And that really felt like the right fit, where I get to do all of these things that I enjoy doing, teaching in various capacities, also being surrounded by books and learning, sharing information with others. So it was a really natural fit for me.
And a few words about your childhood and picture books you grew up on and where your
Um,
love for children's literature comes from.
well, that's a really great question. A Wrinkle in Time was very important for me growing up. I read that with my dad. There was a lot of reading for us together. Harry Potter, of course, was my generation, and so there was a lot of that.
Wow.
Um, and remembering standing in line at
What
midnight waiting for the next
you
book to
read
come in.
Harry Potter as a kid?
I mean, we started in what? It would have been late middle school for me, maybe.
Wow.
Mhm.
It's been around longer than I thought. Okay. Keep going.
That's okay. So those were, the chapter books that really stood out for me. But The Giving Tree, Caps for Sale, those were ones that we read a lot
Oh,
as a kid.
hold on. The Giving Tree is one of the most loved and hated picture books out there.
Yes.
It's one of the most banned picture books that I know of, and you mention it, well, you got to talk a little bit about it.
I think more for me, it's the connection to family, sharing those times of reading together and having that memory. And it's interesting you say that because that is a lot of our connection to nursery rhymes too. You have these positive memories that are embedded within them in many cases by singing them with a treasured caregiver. And so making changes to that can feel very antithetical. You want to be able to, preserve the nostalgia of your childhood. But then, as you're saying, when you realize, oh, but wait, maybe this was an issue, then it throws everything else into question. That can be very uncomfortable.
Would you read it to in your library to a 5-year-old today?
I don't know that I would. Not necessarily because of the book itself, but because if there were a message that I was trying to share as a result of that book, there are a lot of books that you could choose instead. Not necessarily that I'm saying like don't read this one, but there, especially for like a story time, you we have found that there are ways to engage children, with more like colors and different ways of writing and, things like that. So I would more lean into that also because of the length of it. Um, if you're reading one-on-one with a child, it's different than reading in a story time setting.
Okay, but I love this interview. I love interviewing librarians, and especially I've said that already. Um, you talked about message. You said reading a book to convey a message to the children. Librarians do that, do they?
Well, you're designing a story time. Often we're using a theme
Hmm.
because it makes it easier for us to, find different songs that fit this theme or different books that fit this theme. And so as you're doing that, and this also goes along with the songs themselves. So when you have this overarching goal, whether it's like talking about sharing or friendship or counting or whatever it happens to be, you have that underlying goal of your story time and the educational aspect of it. And then you get to choose how you kind of fit all the pieces together to make that happen.
Mary, I was of two minds about talking about the recent brouhaha with Mac Barnett. But I can't help just mentioning it because there's a huge argument going on. This is not a recent argument. It's gone on for 100 years, um, and it's the message versus the story. And Mac Barnett has appeared to favor one over the other, but what I'm inferring from you that librarians sometimes will prefer to take a story uh, based on a message that they want to share with the children. In which case, the book becomes more than a story; it becomes a vehicle.
And obviously, I can't speak
Mm.
for everyone, but
No, and I
that's
don't want you to. You can't speak for everybody because everybody's thinking different things, right?
Yes, yes. But for
What do
me,
you think?
yeah, for me, that's a really that's part of it. Yes, there are definitely story times that are not necessarily based around a theme and that they are just more fun, like silly books that don't really have any sort of underlying sort of purpose. But there are other times where it feels important to have that conversation through the lens of these fictional characters and be able
Mhm.
to connect readers to bigger concepts and ideas through the use of literature.
So didactic is not necessarily bad.
Are you putting me in a corner?
Probably two quarters.
Well,
You
I'm
don't
very,
have to answer. You don't have to answer.
I feel like there's benefits to both. I feel like picking one side over the other in most cases is not necessarily the right thing to do. It's more of finding the balance between them.
That's very beautiful. And we'll leave it there. And I think that if everybody understood that, people look for different things in picture books, then the world would be a better place, and our community wouldn't be full of antagonism right now. But let's move on. So what I also like about your book is that you're not only talking about the problem. There is a problem. A lot of these poems are based on a religious feuds and decapitations and torturing and what have you. And everybody should know it before they start singing the songs. And then you have your third part of your book, which is a solution. What's your solution, Mary?
That was actually one of the most fun parts of my book. As I was kind of developing it, that was a later thought process. But it essentially goes into the history of children's music in general. It used to be that, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, people viewed children as just small adults. And so everything was kind of catered to adults, and children were just brought along for the ride. And in the early 1900s, things kind of started to change a little bit. We started getting recorded music. We started to realize that children are this untapped potential of marketing possibilities. And so people were being able to make their own music, cater to this very specific audience, and then be able to not only, profit from that, but also to use all of the things that we're learning from early childhood development to design songs, stories, and be able to make those more beneficial for young readers and their minds. So through that process, you see how all of these uh, evolutionary processes have happened. The people who have kind of started this process, names like Raffi come to mind, people who have taken their understanding of young children and early literacy and early learning, translated that into music and made these songs and stories that are really prolific and helpful going forward. And now we're in this stage, interestingly. So we have science and technology that can help us and maybe also make things more difficult in some ways. Um, but there are songs that have been made using science and understanding of how brainwaves work and what key songs need to be in and how the pacing goes and what elements to include. And so that's a really interesting component to making these songs for kids. You also now have AI. And a year ago, when my manuscript was finished, AI was just kind of peeking its head out. And now it is everywhere. And that is very intense in a lot of ways too, because AI uses all of this generative technology, which includes all of these nursery rhymes that may be fine, but may not be fine. And so if you're having these songs that are being made based on things that are not fine, it's just perpetuating the issue because they're using the anyway. So it's a very complex situation that's happening. However, there is a huge opportunity for those people who like making music, who understand young children and their brain development, to create songs that are not only helpful for that brain development, but also more positive in a lot of other ways. So, anyone who makes music, I hope you're listening.
So, and this, I think this is splendid. I mean, as somebody who likes to write songs, um, talk about Baba Black Sheep. Have you any wool? And there's even a problem with this classic Mother Goose. And then you mentioned that it has the same rhyme as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which is relatively innocuous, right? And should
Yes.
you should you use the tune from a problematic rhyme to uh, all of these things are things that we should think about. But certainly, and I've been teaching this, and I looked at it, and said, you could take Mary Had a Little Lamb and riff on it and create hilarious new poems. Mary had a dinosaur. Um, eh, give me a prompt here. Mary had a dinosaur.
Uh, its arms were very small.
Its very arms were very small. It woke up in the morning and it looked into the mirror and realized that it was tall. Okay, we need a little bit of time here. That was pretty bad. But basically, this whole idea of creating a new generation of Mother Goose based on riffing off the old rhymes and maybe some of the old tunes is a fantastic idea, and that's a great way to end your book, and I commend you for that. My only comment is that you didn't mention my favorite children's trio, Sharon, Lois, and Bram, and you didn't do that because you're not Canadian.
I'm
So in
not
your next
Canadian.
book, no, and in your next book, I want you to be Canadian.
Well, good. And that this is the start of a conversation. This is not a do this, do that sort of book. It is a here is some information, here are some things to think about, and I hope that it encourages more of that conversation, more of that reflection. But what about this? But what about that? But what about this? And so, yeah, so it doesn't include everything. Obviously, we couldn't do that. And also, there's so much conversation to have now about the global connection or disconnect of these like singers, if they made it globally or not, and what that means. And yeah, so thank you. That's part of my hope with this book. So yay, it worked.
No, I'm not in any way casting in. It was just a small comment of a ex-Can. I'm actually still a Canadian, um, and most people don't know. And I'm just going to shout out, that they are the people who popularized "Skinnamarink Dinky Dink, Skinnamarink Doo." I love you. I love you in the morning and in the afternoon, and so on and so forth. So you should know that that's a Canadian trio, um, and um, and of course, the other thing is that my favorite Mother Goose. I think that it was just too innocuous to be in your book. You couldn't find anything bad about the cat and the fiddle. That the cat was essentially some Protestant who tortured a violin loving page in the old castle or something.
I actually think that there is some folklore history about that one, but there wasn't as much written about it, and so it ended up not floating to the top as far as the number of folks that have kind
Yeah,
of
but
written about it.
you did have me going to search engines trying to find the origins of that one. It is a little unclear. So what haven't I asked you? There must be
Well, I
something I
wanted
haven't asked you.
I wanted to touch base about you mentioned it and then didn't ask me a question about it. So I'll just fill in the blanks a little bit for
Please.
listeners. So you were talking about Baba Black Sheep. So that is apparently, so it's been around a really, really long time. And it supposedly is about the Great Custom, a tax that was imposed in 1280. So talking about history, and it has to do with the cost of wool. And so now in contemporary times, there is a bit of, especially in the United States, racial connotation that is associated now with this rhyme. So, because of the relationship between black and white sheep, the use of the word master. So, there's a lot of that kind of connection to slavery in the United States. As a result, it makes people a little bit uncomfortable singing this song. But, like you said, piggybacking is what we call it when we use a tune that people know or a rhyme that people know and put different words to it. So there are two camps as far as librarians go, whether it's absolutely okay to be able to just take a tune that people know and put different words to it, and others who are saying absolutely not. Some benefits to doing that, like you said, if you are in a multi generational setting,
Hold on. You want to tell me that there's librarians who say that you can't sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star anymore?
Well, that's the question, right? That if you think about it as a full blanket, like absolutely not, then it does make that impossible, right? Um, so I definitely think there's some gray area in this. There are some songs that people know um, that have really, there's one song I love the tune of it because it's something people recognize, and it's really easy to put new lyrics to it, and there's a really good counting and colors song, and it also comes from minstrel American history. So as a result, for me, I won't take that song and put new words to it. It depends on the person whether or not that's okay for them. Like I said, it's not a very clear cut answer one way or the other.
Can you give me an example of a kosher song, kosher tune that would be okay?
That's acceptable.
Yeah.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. That's a good one. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. That's a good one.
No,
Well,
but
I
Twinkle,
mean,
Twinkle, Little Star,
depending on,
Baa Baa Black Sheep.
right. So depending on your view
Show-
of that.
And how about the wheels of the bus go round and round, round and round?
Yep, that one typically okay.
And old
Just
MacDonald had a farm.
yes, depending on the animals that you're okay with on the farm. So there's a little bit of sensitivity there too. You got
To
to
which,
kind of
to
know
which,
your audience
to
a
which
little bit.
animals? To which animals?
Well, in some places of the world, cows are not on farms, and other places of the world, pigs are not on farms. It just kind of depends on who you're talking to, who your audience is, the cultural beliefs of those folks.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm speaking just for me, Mary. I live in Israel. I don't eat pigs, but a song that has pigs is kosher for me.
Okay, then that's good. Then it works.
Uh, your book is wonderful. It's first of all, it's easy reading. It's so well researched, and it not only presents the problem, it gives potential solutions to the problem. So it's a little bit. We talked about this. It's the price of a research book. Um, and but it's definitely worth buying and worth looking at. So I'm going to highly recommend it. It gives so much food for thought, and it's wonderful meeting you. I have a feeling I'm going to see you in a few weeks again. But in the meantime, wave your book, show it to everybody, and it's called
Yes.
Using Nursery Rhymes with Today's Kids, Their Legacy and Evolution by Mary Lanni, and it's out with Bloomsbury just a month. And I wish you tons of success, and I cannot wait to see what Mother Goose rhymes that you come up with.
Thank you. Yes.
And I,
Who knows?
if you write any of your own, I promise to sing them in public. How's,
Well, I
how's
appreciate
that?
that very much. Let's see if I can get my fictional juices flowing too.
And you should. This has been wonderful. So before I forget who I am, I'm Mel Rosenberg. I'm the host of the Children's Literature Channel for the New Books Network, and I've been here with the wonderful librarian and author Mary Lanni and her new book on understanding and learning from the dark underside of Mother Goose rhymes and poems. Mary, this has been spectacular. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Mel. It's great to be here.
Bye bye.